Try it right now. Put the phone down. Don't move. Don't think about anything specific. Just exist for 30 seconds. Go ahead. Notice what happens. Because within 10 seconds, something in your brain started looking for an exit. That feeling, that pull toward anything else, has a name. And understanding it changes how you see almost everything about modern life. Here is what that feeling actually is. It is not boredom. Not exactly. Boredom is what happens when you want stimulation and can't find it. What you just felt is something different. It is your brain's default mode network firing up. A system that activates specifically when you are not focused on anything external. And the moment it activates, it does not rest. It generates. It produces thoughts, worries, plans, regrets, imagined conversations, social comparisons. It runs a full audit of everything unresolved in your life, all at once, in the background, without asking for your permission. Doing nothing for your brain is not rest. It is the most cognitively active state it knows. In 2014, a psychologist named Timothy Wilson at the University of Virginia wanted to find out just how far people would go to escape this state. He put participants alone in a room with nothing in it. No phone, no book, no music, just a chair and their own thoughts. He asked them to sit there for between 6 and 15 minutes and simply think. That was the entire task. Just think. Most people found it deeply unpleasant. Then Wilson added a variable, a small device in the room that would deliver a mild electric shock. Participants had already experienced the shock before entering the room and rated it as unpleasant. They were told they could use it if they wanted to. What happened next has been cited in psychology literature ever since. 67% of men chose to shock themselves rather than continue sitting with their thoughts. One participant shocked himself 190 times in 15 minutes. Nobody forced them. Nobody offered a reward. Their brains simply could not tolerate the alternative. Which raises the obvious question, why? What is so unbearable about being alone with your own mind? The answer starts with how your brain evolved. For almost the entire history of the human species, an idle mind was a dangerous mind. If you were sitting still with nothing to do, something was wrong. Either the hunt had failed and food was running out, or the group was in danger and you hadn't noticed yet, or a threat was approaching and you weren't prepared. The brain that learned to treat stillness as a signal, to scan, to plan, to anticipate, to rehearse, survived. The brain that relaxed into genuine emptiness missed the predator in the tall grass. Stillness was not safe, and your brain never got the update that says it is. Neuroscientists call the system responsible for this the default mode network. It was discovered almost by accident. Researchers studying brain activity noticed that certain regions became significantly more active when participants were not doing anything. Not less active, more active. The brain during rest is running at nearly full capacity. The default mode network activates the medial prefrontal cortex, the posterior cingulate cortex, and the angular gyrus. Regions associated with self-referential thinking, social cognition, and imagining the future. When you do nothing, your brain immediately turns inward. It starts thinking about you, your relationships, your failures, your uncertain future, your unfinished business. Every unresolved thing in your life gets a turn. This is why silence feels loud. This is why long drives alone feel heavy. This is why the moment you lie down to sleep, your brain produces a list of everything you haven't dealt with. It is not anxiety. It is your default mode network doing exactly what it was built to do. The problem is, it was built for a world that no longer exists, and modern life has made this dramatically worse. Every technology designed to capture your attention, every notification, every scroll, every autoplay, is calibrated to one specific thing, interrupting your default mode network before it can finish what it started. The phone is not competing with boredom. It is competing with the most cognitively intense state your brain enters, and it wins almost every time. Not because you are weak, because the pull toward external stimulation is one of the oldest survival instincts you have. Psychologists have a name for the specific discomfort of being alone with your thoughts. They call it aversive self-awareness. The experience of your own mind as something uncomfortable to inhabit. Research by Harvard psychologists Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert in 2010 found that people spend nearly half their waking hours thinking about something other than what they are currently doing, and that this mind-wandering, this inability to stay present, consistently predicted lower levels of happiness regardless of what they were actually doing. It was not the activity that determined how people felt. It was whether their mind was somewhere else. The brain that cannot sit still is not restless. It is running from something. Here is what it is running from. Psychologist Shelley Dunn found that unstructured time with with no task, no goal, no defined purpose, forces a confrontation with what she called existential anxiety. The awareness, however brief and unconscious, of your own smallness, of time passing, of things undone and uncertain. The moment external structure is removed, the brain is left alone with the largest questions it carries, and it is not equipped to answer them. So it reaches for anything else: a task, a screen, a plan, a worry, anything with enough structure to keep the deeper questions at bay. This is why busy people often feel better than people with nothing to do. Not because work is fulfilling, because it is a container. It gives the brain an external structure to organize itself around. Remove the container, and the brain has no choice but to confront what it has been avoiding. The restlessness is not a problem. It is a message. And like most things the brain produces, it sounds like discomfort, but means something else entirely. Go back to those 30 seconds from the beginning, the pull you felt, the slight discomfort, the urge to check something, think about something, plan something. That was not weakness. That was 300,000 years of a brain that learned the hard way that stillness costs you. The world it was built for is gone. The instinct remains, and the only thing that changes it, the research is consistent on this, is not willpower. It is practice. Repeated, deliberate, uncomfortable practice of staying in the place your brain least wants to be, until it slowly learns that the silence is not a threat, just a room, and you are allowed to be in it.